Welcome back to the 12 Days of Wolfmas. This is day number 11, and through the first 10 episodes, we're up $9,182, and I have no plans on slowing down. Info on how to win your share of this record-breaking prize pool for Wolfmas is at the middle of the video, but as for now, we take a quick flight over to Chicago to spend time with family for Christmas. It's a 1-2 game. I'm in for $300, and we're at the Rockford Charitable Games, which, fun fact, I used to play when I was in high school. It's kind of where I got my start and fell in love with poker. In the very first hand, we look down at Ace 4 of Diamonds. I raise it up to $15 over a few limpers, and Nico and the player on my right both put in the call. The flop comes Jack 5-3 with 2 diamonds, so a pretty great flop without exactly hitting a pair. I have the nut flush draw, I have a gutter to the wheel, and in between two opponents, I start with a check. The turn's pretty great now. I have a pair, it comes the ace of hearts. I decide to check it over to Nico, and he bets out for $15. Player on my right folds, so of course I put in the call. Having a pair here, a flush draw, a straight draw is pretty great, but what's even better, making your straight on the river with the deuce of clubs in a $77 pot. Very first hand here is off to a bang.
Are you familiar with a holiday on May 5th?
My birthday's
Cinco de Mayo, baby! Cinco de Mayo! Dude, I like you even more now.
I don't want to risk this getting checked through, so I gotta get value versus Nico, but he's a decent player here. He finds the fold, so no extra value. We're 1 for 1 on the night.
Yeah, I'm retired, right?
It's the guy right here. Thank you.
All right, $15 here with ace queen of spades over a limper. Brad puts in the call from across the table, and the player on my right calls as well, which brings us off to a flop, which comes ace king jack all diamonds. The action checks through on the flop, which brings in a board pairing king on the turn. I'm either way ahead here or way behind, so when the player on my right only bets out for 20 bucks, I'm taking this as a feeler bet. I'm gonna toss in 4 red chips one by one here and see what Brad does. He pretty quickly calls, so when he doesn't raise, I'm pretty sure I have the best hand in this spot. The river card is an absolute brick. It comes as 6 of hearts, and when the action checks through on the river, I table my cards, and $108 is our reward. No one can beat our hand here. Aces and kings with a queen kicker. All right, this next hand, I look down at ace deuce of clubs, a nice little holding here. I make it $10 to go. Quinn in seat 9 puts in the call, and a few other players do as well. Off 4 ways to a flop, which comes ace 10-7 with 2 hearts. I start with a check here, and Quinn now fires out for $15. We lose seat 9, and Nico, the turn gives us the nut flush draw to go along with top pair. Comes the 9 of clubs. I check it over to Quinn once again, and let's see how large he goes for a bet. $72 in the middle, and he decides that $30 is the right price. I could raise here, but that would be throwing my pair of aces into the wind. I have showdown value here, so I don't think a raise is necessary. I'd rather just call and spike a club on the turn and then go for a check raise or just lead out into him. But when the river comes the jack of spades, it puts a 4-liner to the straight. So when I check it over to Quinn, he bets out now large into the $130 pot for 75 bucks. And even though I have top pair, it's pretty much just a bluff catcher. And I don't exactly think that Quinn is going for 3 streets here with a bluff. He turns over the ace of diamonds and flashes me the 8 of spades. So he had a better ace and then rivered a straight. So great no call there from me, and happy we saved a little bit of money. If you want to be one of the 7 lucky winners that gets flown down to Champions Club in Houston, Texas, and given a free buy-in to play with Lucas and myself, here's how to enter. I'm giving away 2 seats to channel members, so you have to hit join and become a channel member to be eligible for that. 2 people will be picked from signing up on Club WPT Gold using code Wolfgang, and the remaining the same way as last year from that sign-up sheet down in the description. As always, today's the last day to sign up for the 12 Days of Wolfmas. We're picking the winners tomorrow, so if you haven't already signed up in all 3 spots, make sure you go back and do that now. All right, this next hand is interesting. Seat 3 jams for $16, and Gustavo puts in the call. I look down at pocket kings. Of course, we have to come in for a raise here, and I decide that the bet size needs to be Cinco de Mayo, baby. It's a fiesta, $55 in the middle. The action folds back around to Gustavo, who thinks about it before putting in the call. So now we're heads up to a flop with 1 player already all in. Of course, when you have pocket kings, an ace is always coming. No different here. Ace 8-3 with 2 32 diamonds. The action goes check, check, but when the turn brings another ace, I think it's safe to go for a bet when Gustavo checks it over to me for a second time, trying to get value versus some flush draws and other random pairs. I fire out small and he snap folds, and so we turn over our kings. The river is an inconsequential 5 of clubs, and the villain in seat 3 had queen jack of spades, so we're beating him. And for your guys' peace of mind, Gustavo had king 10 of hearts. Nice to take down another little pot there after we lost one versus Quinn, and we're moving right into the next one here when we raise up to $15 with queen 9 of diamonds. Quinn calls the 15 and Ram in seat 1 makes it 45 to go. Nico puts in the call, I do as well, and Quinn does too. So we got ourselves a good old-fashioned 4-way here and a pretty big pot in this 1-2 game, which gives me top pair on a monochrome queen 10-6 all club board. The action checks through, which is interesting. I bet one of these 3 other hooligans has a high club in their hand, so seeing the 3 of diamonds on the turn is a pretty safe card. When the action's on me, I decide to bet out for $55 just to figure out where I'm at in the hand. I want to charge all those ace of clubs and king of clubs type hands, and Ram puts in the call. When he 3-bets pre and doesn't bet the flop, I think his hand is definitely indicative of what I just mentioned, and Nico folds, leaving us heads up to battle for this $300 pot on the river, which comes the 7 of spades. When the action's on me, I decided to check here. I don't really think there's any point in betting out and getting a little bit more value. I think checking him also allows him to bluff, so when I do so and he jams for $32, of course I have to put in the call, and he turns over a club, which was the king of clubs, followed by another king, which is the king of diamonds. So $356 is his, and he played it pretty great by checking multi-way on the flop, getting me to bet the turn, and then getting another 32 bucks on the river. All right, there's a limp to $2. I look down at a suited 8-9 of clubs and make it $15 to go. The player on my direct left calls, Ram calls, and Nico calls. So another 4-way here, off to a flop, which comes 10-10-6 rainbow. Action checks through, giving me a flush draw on the deuce of clubs turn, and now there's a bet out for $25 and a call ahead of me. I could raise here, but I think I'm only going to get called by better hands, maybe some better flush draws as well. So I decided just to play it passively and put in the call, and we lose the button, which brings in the flush on the river, the 5 of clubs. Bang, we river the flush. Ram now slows down and checks, but Nico takes up the betting lead and fires out for a very specific $26. Now I definitely can't just be calling. I know the board is paired, but we didn't call the turn to make a flush on the river and not get more value, so I decide that the right sizing here is $101. The action folds back around to Nico, who seems to be in a tough spot. Somehow, someway, Nico makes the fold of his lifetime, folding the 10 of hearts for 3 of a kind. I don't know how he did it. He just put me on a flush.
Flashback.
Makes a great fold here, and even though we're winning the pot, it feels like a crime to not get a little bit of extra value. Afterwards, I allow him to pick one card, and he turns over the 8 of clubs. So I think that made him pretty happy knowing that I had a flush, and now if he's watching the video, he knows for sure he made an amazing fold. Alright, unfortunately for Nico, he only has $16 left in his stack and he jams it all in the middle. I look down at ace-4 of diamonds for the second time in this session, and of course I'm putting in the call. I want to give him some action. It's a great hand, and it turns out we are going 3-ways to the flop when his buddy Ram in seat 1 puts in the call as well. Action goes check check on a 10-10-5 1 diamond board, which gives me 2 pair on the 5 of hearts. Check check again on the turn. The river comes the 8 of clubs. The action checks through. Nico proudly says he has 2 pair with the ace kicker, and of course I have to give him a little slow roll for the chop.
How does he have ace high here? That's crazy. Crazy, dude. Oh, Nico! Feliz Navidad. Hey, Gustavo, Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry. What's up? I wanted to let you all know my content producer Lucas just designed all new emotes for you guys. We're building lots of incentives to become a channel member, and aside from these awesome emotes, there's other cool advantages to joining the channel, like early member access to videos, custom channel badges, priority replies to comments, and of course, as you know, I'm picking 2 of the 7 Wolfmas winners from my channel members, which is, as it stands right now, only 95 of you. That is by far your best odds to win, even if more people join. It's only $5 a month.
So if you want a way to support the channel while also receiving some awesome benefits, follow the link in the description to become a member. Bang! All right, 2 hands to go, and this one's a banger, no pun intended. Limp to $2, I make it $15 to go. Matthew calls, Ram calls, and the limper folds, so 3 ways to the flop here, which comes Jack, Jack, 4, bang, we flop quads. It's not every day you make quads, let alone flopping them, let alone in a Wolfmas video. So I know you guys are as pumped as I was in this moment. I was like mid-conversation with the guy to my right, telling him how you shouldn't be limping with dumb hands and all this other stuff. Of course, I'm trying to coach people at the table while also having quads. Pretty insane spot here, and Ram now bets out for $25. I put in the smooth call, and Matthew does as well, which brings in the 8 of hearts on the turn. I'm not going to be too aggressive here. I fire out for $25, trying to induce Matthew or Ram to put in the raise. If I just check, it risks checking through, and I'm trying to bloat this pot up for you guys. And lucky for us, Matthew finds the call. We lose our 3-way though, so the river comes the 4 of clubs, 175 in the middle, kind of a weird spot. How large do I go? I'm not exactly sure what he has on this board. That's the thing about making quads, is that you kind of lock up everything. He can't obviously have a jack. Maybe he has 4s full, that would be sick, or 8s full, something like that. I fire out for $100, and Matthew goes into the tank.
So you got a nice jack under there?
You river a boat? I don't have a jack. I have 2. Quads! Look at that, $375 coming over my way, and Matthew ended up showing us he had the flush draw to go along with it. King 8 of spades, so he has a flush draw on the flop, turns 2 pair, jacks and 8s. Imagine if the river comes a flush. Man, I would have bet there, he would have raised, it would have been a fiesta for sure.
How much do I win?
Oh, you won.
Quad jacks.
Matthew, the people of Wolfmas appreciate that call there with King 8. If any of you guys know Matthew, you're friends with Matthew, and you're watching this vlog right now, send him this video and then send it to him every December, what is this? December 21st. After a nice $375 pot here in 1-2, we look down at King Queen offsuit as a raise to 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4 callers ahead of me. A great squeeze spot here, and I want to go $55, but I think it's just a little bit too small, so I size up here to $65, and of course have to ask Gustavo, what's the name for cousin in Spanish? How do you say cousin in Spanish?
Primo.
Primo. This is the Cinco de Mayo's primo. Matthew's on tilt from that last hand. He decides to jam all in for $100, and of course I put in the call, but it looks like Matthew is getting it in good here. Ace 10 offsuit versus my King Queen. He's definitely a favorite. We're gonna run this 2 times, and the first board comes great for Matthew. He's taking it down with a pair of aces on the river, but the second board gives me a king right off the bat and trips on the turn. We end up holding in a boat situation, kings full of 4s, and we're not gonna slow roll Matthew on this one because the cards are already on their backs. After that last chop with Matthew, we rack up our chips and head over to the cage. I got in for $300, bought in for another $100, and cashed out for $548, so the hot streak continues. I win $148 more for you guys. If you guys like this video, Wolfmas number 12, the big finale is coming out tomorrow. Make sure you set your notifications on for that one, where I announce all the 7 winners and tell you guys exactly how much I won. Good luck on the felt, you guys. Until tomorrow, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!